Morning, everybody. Wow, loads of you. So I need to start by finding out a bit about you. You've heard a lot and very interesting presentations that you've had so far. So I started work in the social care sector in 1981. Now I realise that, you might think I was only 10, but in actual fact, I wasn't, but I was very young. So that is 36, that's frightening, 36 years working in the care sector. So just help me along here. So just show, a show of hands, if you worked for 5 years, up to 5 years in the care sector. Okay, so are the majority of you less than 5 years? Have you worked between 5 and 10 years in the sector? Yes, so some of you a bit reluctant to show more than 10 years, 15 years? Yeah, wow, more than 15, 20 years? Okay, goodness me, this is frightening. More than 25 years, whoa, oh my goodness. More than 36 years, come on. Yay! Oh, that's impressive. Of course we want to retire. Bloody hell, all of that effort, incredible amount. And imagine that as a sort of a collective wedge of effort and experience and understanding that you have, and obviously that you're putting into your services. So thank you for inviting me. It's fantastic to be here and be able to speak to you. I'm going to start by just quickly flicking through, because I realise that I've probably got a bit less time. A bit about Skills for Care. I'm sure that you do know who Skills for Care are. Just a quick show of hands, and if that's everybody, then I'll flip through very, very quick. Oh, that is very big, everybody. Workforce is our bag, yeah? We're sponsored by Department of Health. Workforce leadership is our thing. And we have a lot of tools to support you to do that, and I'm going to show you some of those this morning. We certainly are helping employers, but importantly, just before we go on to the values, we also have locality managers in places. So my area, as John said, Yorkshire, Humber and the North East, so we have 8 locality managers within that patch. 8 locality managers in the patch, and some of those I know will link to you in the various areas. If you don't know who they are, then please do come and ask me. We're also now running registered manager networks. I wondered how many of you are involved in the registered manager networks. Yeah, so there are a few of you. Okay. So again, across the Yorkshire and Humber and the North East, we have a number of registered manager networks where you'll find like-minded people who are going through the experiences that Derek talked about, that an ability to share those issues with others, learn from peers and so on. So I think worth probably finding out about those registered manager networks. So just flipping on then, so in terms of our values, I think the values of an organisation are generally very important, but often they're not very explicit. So if you're not sure about your values in your organisation, I'm sure you are, and I'm coming back to the issue of values, then I do suggest that you begin to be able to say what they are, because actually they're very important. They're the basis of what we do. And if you go back to the thing about experience, the issue of experience, you wouldn't be here if you didn't feel that you fitted within the values of the organisation. Values are incredibly useful in terms of us feeling that we're in like-minded networks, that we understand each other, that we behave in certain ways that we accept. So I would say that values probably underpin everything that you do. Hopefully that you are aware of your values, and I'm sure that providing whole person care absolutely underpins everything that is part of your work as with us. So just flipping on, just to say that there is a World Values Day coming up, apparently. If you didn't, I didn't realise there was going to be World Values Day, but there is. Just for you that don't know that we collect data, do you know about the data set? We collect figures to do with workforce, huge number of jobs. And it was also identified actually on the radio, and I was listening to Peter, whatever he was called, this morning, saying that actually there are more people working in care. The reason that we know that is that we've got this data set. And thank goodness that we've got this data set. 1.58 million jobs, we think being delivered by 1.44 million people. That's a huge number of people. As you know, that people often do one job. So, interesting in terms of sort of recording of data. So flipping on, we're here obviously to celebrate your achievements, and what a fantastic achievement, what a fantastic place for you to be in. So in terms of this sort of learner-teacher business, for those of you that have been involved in training and development, I'm sure that you'll understand that you don't become a teacher without constant learning, the continuous learning cycle, and it never stops. You learn all the time, wherever you are, whatever role you're in, that actually doesn't stop. And you only really become a teacher when you understand that no matter where you are. Yesterday I was at a conference that was being run for chief execs in charities, and you know that the amount of knowledge being shared, the incredible amount of learning that was happening for me, it's just a continual process. But many, many congratulations on your achievement. I would like to say, and I think you should also be thanking your families, your friends, your support networks and your colleagues, because actually without all of them you can't do it. We're not isolated, we need to be able to get support from our colleagues, really importantly, to be able to continue to achieve. So just moving on, that's a bit of a list of potential Cpd opportunities. So Cpd, it's your career. Mine started in 1981, as lots of yours started in a similar time. It's your career, it's your Cpd, it's your continual professional development. Think about what you need. The opportunities are huge and varied. All sorts of stuff you can do. I mean, down here there's seated recreational activities qualification. Well, when I saw that, I was thinking, that's interesting. You know, that might be something that I'm interested in doing. You know, there's so much potential for us nowadays. Don't give up on the learning. Keep plugging away at it. And yes, we know it's hard work, and we know it's often done in addition to work and coping with family and life generally and the things that get thrown at us. But keep on with the learning. Okay, so thank you. So moving on, because, and I suppose these do really link. So one of the things that we all have to deal with is this business of pressure and stress. And there's been lots of reference to the place of the social care, you know, where we are in the world today, and you know, the concerns about our sector, and of course that creates additional pressure and stress. So we've developed this resource about supporting resilience of your workforce, or your resilience, your ability to cope, your ability to come back from difficult adversity and actually make something that's more positive and actually grow from that position. Feel that you've learnt from what happened to you, feel that you're actually melding it into you. It's not becoming something that's a constant ache, but actually it's a support for you because you've developed. Now though I have to say that having seen how many of you have worked for so long, I would guess that your resilience is pretty high. But please do think about that. Think about that for yourselves, but think about it for your people that you're working with as well. So thank you. Moving on. So I think I was asked to look at some of the issues for leadership, and I think that what we should acknowledge is that whilst we might not be in formal leadership roles, we all have leadership responsibilities. Just flicking on, that our commitment to leadership development is dealing with the things that we've talked about, that Derek talked about this morning, coping with that complexity, developing confident leaders, thinking about what system change needs to happen. So the more that we transform this world of care, our world of care won't, I think, in its current format, be sustainable. We know that there are so many more people who are living longer. So demography is saying, it's great that we've got more people that have long-term conditions. Isn't that fantastic that people don't die? But, they need caring for. More and more people with dementia, the increasing numbers of people with disabilities living in communities, and so on. All of that is creating a requirement to think about what is it that we need to do within our system. What are the changes? What's the sort of transformation that we need to make? Because we need to make it, and we need skilled leaders to do that. We need to have action-orientated approaches to that system leadership. i.e. really thinking, what will make the difference? What can we do to improve the lives of those people that we support? How do we create a culture of care? And a culture of care for you in your organisation. Culture of caring, obviously, for the people that you're supporting, but also for you. And I'm sure that you do that. I'm sure that you do support each other. And I'm sure that your managers also support you. Because actually, that's what being resilient is often all about. Okay, so moving on, I think we were going to talk. So you might, this is interesting also, bear in mind that that now, is it 93% of your services are rated good? That is fantastic. We do have a good and outstanding care guide that you're able to access, which also has films that you can download. If you haven't had a look at those, that's worth getting hold of. So we'll just flip on from that one and that one because you can't read it, so basically that's a bit about the detail. So we've done a piece of research looking at this business of recruitment, and again it was identified as being a key issue for you as an organisation. The issues, so just moving on in terms of numbers, so the challenges we face, we know that the workforce has increased by 18% since 2009 and is projected to increase by another 18% by 2025. There are 90,000 vacancies in our sector at any given time. 90,000, I mean that's frightening, really. We need to encourage people to join, we need to be ambassadors of our service, we need to ensure that we get out into schools, into colleges, and talk to people about, the potential for them working within our sector. We need to think maybe more globally. I think moving on to the next one. That's a bit about, yes, that one, thank you. Think about, the potential for untapped potential in underrepresented groups, such as people with mental health problems, who've had homeless backgrounds, who are ex-offenders, who are recovering addicts, or maybe military veterans. So if you base your recruitment on values, that's what the previous slide said, that it said that if you think about, somebody's values, you can teach stuff, we can all learn stuff, but we can't actually change what's in us, what's that core of what we believe and what we think is right, how we treat other people, how we think about people, how we work with people, you know, are we encouraging? Are we supportive of people? Are we motivational? Are we actually doing stuff for rather than with? You know all that, I'm sure you do. But think about, you know, the potential for other groups when you're thinking about recruitment. So moving on. So we have a number of resources here that really are just links to some of those things that I've talked about, the recruitment retention toolkit, finding keeping workers, and so on. I'm not sure whether we're going to will you share these slides? Will the slides be? Yes, yeah, okay. So that you'll have access to those in the future. But just wanted to finish by just saying, you know, how amazing it is that you're here and you're committed, and you are committed to the job, you're committed to the lives of the people that you support, and how fantastic that is, and that you're committed to learning, you're committed to ongoing development. That's really the cornerstone of what the services are about. So many congratulations, and thank you very much.